And we are live. Hello folks, welcome to part 16 of Sonadow Play Ace Attorney. And joining me as always is my lovely girlfriend IMShadow007. Say hello, hon.
Hi!
And now, today we're going to do the first trial of, well, the final case in the second game.
Yep.
It's quite long, so I don't know how long we're actually going to get done with it, but we'll see.
Yep.
Okay, farewell my...
Here we go.
Farewell my turnabout.
Here we go.
Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman can do anything like that. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there's someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand.
Well, it's almost time.
Mia.
You must get a complete acquittal today.
I know. But I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day.
Indeed. Well, let's get going.
Beep, beep, beep. It's him. This is right. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please. Wait! The kidnapper sent me a present? Mr. Lawyer Dude? Who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Ungard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. What the... I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor! Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What? Shot?
Uh-oh. Somehow. I think this is the present that man was talking about.
His present?
Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage.
This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Phew. You're... Oh, whoops. She's alive and in stable condition.
I thought he'd show up.
Your Honor. Edward! Your Honor. Due to the circumstances, Miss Francisca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready. Naturally. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Huh. Must run in the family getting shot in the fucking shoulder.
Yeah, I know, right?
Luckily, I have looked this case over and I'm familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ungard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand.
And just for warning, don't worry. Edgeworth is a good guy, so he's on our side.
Witness, your name and occupation? My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe? The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes, sir! Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that.
Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight.
Yeah, it'd have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth.
When you think about it, it is symbolic for Edgeworth to be the final boss in this trial.
This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. After the award ceremony, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant went alone to their room, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Press away.
Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8 p.m., and then there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, Detective. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? She's a defendant, Matt Ungard's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir. Ah, so she's a pretty lady. I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. Ungard. After visiting his room, she next went to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir. I see. And that's when she found the victim's body. The cause of death? Wasn't that because Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn here to this bandana. Banana? His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped around tightly around his neck, sir. Yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. Then what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. And you have no idea, Judge.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but... The only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims? Huh. I see. So much for my theory, then.
Thanks.
What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night.
Well then, where was it?
The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Corrida, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir.
So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case?
Yes, sir. Even when he was up on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Ungard? Because there was no reason enough to suspect him.
There was reason.
Oh, sorry, there was reason enough to suspect him. I misread that.
It's okay.
Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing.
Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter.
Yes, sir. Matt Ungard and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. They each thought of the other guy as in his way. That was motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and found in Mr. Ungard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant brought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder.
He bought the knife?
So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir.
Thank you.
Gatewater is engraved.
And there's this button.
That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it?
And this button is also covered in blood. Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What?! All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? I'll find a hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. But in terms of popularity, Mr. Ungard won, did he not? Yeah. But you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corrida was always one step behind Mr. Ungard and everything. This year it seemed like he'd finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corrida lost the Grand Prix in the end.
That is too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing.
Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Ungard was beating Mr. Corrida in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all.
Yes, I quite agree. Well, Detective?
It's not well. I guess you put it in that way then, yeah. The defendant would have had no motive. Objection! Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. That's... I look forward to your pension negotiations. No!
Be nice to him!
I know, seriously. Give Gumshoe a break, man.
I know.
Now, Detective, let's continue with the testimony.
Oh, not my poor pension, too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? Cue the Twilight Zone music. Do you have any proof that the button belonged to the victim? Huh? What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off of the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Huh? But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood in there afterward.
Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir.
Alright. I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match. Yeah, that's it! They're a perfect match, pal! Ugh.
That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat.
When was the button found? Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corda. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button.
So it's almost immediately after the murder.
The police didn't have free time to lollygag and play tricks unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? How were the fingerprints arranged on the knife? Huh?
What do you mean, pal?
By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless. Are you paying attention to the testimony right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There was no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder.
So was the defendant the owner of this knife, then?
The defendant...
No, he wasn't. No, because if you look at the knife, it says Gatewater on it. So, if we were to present it...
Wait a second.
What?
So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand.
That's right, pal. The defendant
did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set on into the handle. Gatewater?
I think I've heard that name somewhere before. Oh, come on, Gumshoe. You can't be this dense. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel.
Uh-oh.
The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated.
Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough to realize this.
But I didn't know...
The question is, where did this knife come from?
Well, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corda's room.
Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what says on top of the table.
There's a knife and fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from?
If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ungard. Especially what was on top of his table.
The knife is missing.
There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ungard's knife was missing. Ugh. Mr. Ungard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven that this was a premeditated murder.
Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction.
It seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning.
This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it.
A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here.
I can safely say without any further deliberation, I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of Your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown?
He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence.
What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright?
Can give this a quick save.
Yes.
Well...
Phoenix. The judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here...
That gavel of his will be ringing out the sound of our defeat.
Mr. Wright, you have something important and necessary to present to this court?
Yes, we do.
There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see.
Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance, and only one.
What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess up, it's curtains for all of us.
You may present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court?
The wine glass.
Yes, the wine glass full of tomato juice for some reason.
Because think about it. Everything else is broken and in shambles, but the wine glass is yet untouched. Why?
And apparently it was also tomato juice in the Japanese version.
Well, talk about
Because,
weird.
like, if there was a scuffle, why was that wine glass not broken?
Exactly. And why were the contents not spilled everywhere?
Exactly.
This is a wine glass, is it not?
Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser.
Well, yes, I see your point.
However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say?
Well, yes, it is a little peculiar.
Yes, isn't it? I thought it was.
You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth.
What is it, Your Honor?
Your opinion?
You don't need my opinion. Because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking.
That's not how it works.
That does sound very plausible.
Mr. Wright?
Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking?
There's no way. Because think about it. If you see a dead body, the last thing you worry about is, oh, I better set this glass down. You would instantly drop the glass.
Yeah.
Shock.
If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty.
They just might fall for it. If you're thought-provoking enough.
Will you stop reading my mind?
I'm dead, bitch.
That doesn't mean you have psychic powers.
Well, technically, I'm dead, so I can easily read into your thoughts.
Ay, God help me. Don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. It's a glass.
I know, how did they mess that up?
You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim?
There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Do you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then, of course it's been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass.
Only one? Well, whose were they?
They were not the victors nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? I see Stewie Pie Coron that I was referencing The Simpsons there. I know you can read
Oh,
my
really?
thoughts, Mia. Meow 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 meow. If Dan Castelletta voiced Phoenix.
Oh, God.
This is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corridan. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down in the dresser.
What you just said makes a lot of sense.
Tisk. Now do you see, Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover.
Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict.
Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness.
What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? Oh, God, I know who this is.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please.
G-O-T-C-H-A. Gotcha!
I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, Edgy boy! It's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me!
I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand?
I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today, I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with the terrible crime.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all the court needs to know.
Shush! I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Edgy Wedgie. Don't interrupt us, Gramps!
Bet you're probably older than the judge.
I was gonna say, says you!
Yes, madam. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please!
Anyway, witness, your testimony, please.
It's true what they say, that you're either hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Angie. Now then, what should I start with?
The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag?
It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
You mean you were a fan of the victim?
Look, everyone is crazy over that on guard, saying that he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly.
You just said edgy wedgy.
After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in the real man, Juan Carita.
Well, those two are the same age.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night.
Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder.
Leave it to me, Edgy Poo!
Did you just seriously call me edgy poo?
Miles be like, someone please kill me now.
Someone please kill me. Actually kill me this time.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was On Guard. Hold on, there's a bit of lag. Matt On Guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
So Mr. Ungard came out from the victim's room.
See? It has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night?
The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help, I'll have you know. It was for that lead-headed samurai show. Heh, I even took out a few of the nails.
Did her helmet just suddenly magically go back on?
Yes.
Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on.
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door? Something you were interested in? And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. Ah, and Edgy Poo, of course.
Call me that one more time and I'll have you up in the stand for murder.
Oh god.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in?
I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to our testimony later.
It looks like we shouldn't force it right now.
And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time?
Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Carita's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. That explains a lot.
Yes, well, that would explain your age was not included in the report.
Will you stop reading my mind?
I'm the judge. I read everybody's mind.
In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct? Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. That man that came out of Juan's room.
Oops, sorry.
It was...
Yes?
He was...
He was?
Ah! I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
Oh, What I wouldn't give to have Franziska's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I can tell you, since he was such a bad boy anyway.
You saw my client? Are you sure about that?
Yesy!
Really?
Annoying brat! When I say I saw someone, I saw that person!
Why do I get the sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further.
The person's clothes.
Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail.
What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters.
But it does.
Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing.
What thing?
That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket.
Ah, he was wearing that at the detention center too.
That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men.
Right.
So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
It's very important.
Yeah, because if a button was...
Because
If
if a button was removed...
But he wasn't
Yeah.
wearing his samurai costume at the time. He was wearing
No.
that ungodly, ugly racing jacket.
Yeah.
Of course
Anyway,
it was...
go on.
Of course it was important, Your Honor. Objection! Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony.
I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please.
Well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must... He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all for show. Yeah. But what about the button?
Miss Oldbag.
What? Don't say my name for no reason!
Do you know what this is?
It's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninjas costume!
Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance.
Give it here! Give it here! If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this!
Oh, I'm scared. Wow. She really is a diehard fan and want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Angard's body during a full-body search.
See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that rascal Angard.
It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai hakama pants.
See? See? And Angard is the nickel samurai.
Witness! Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Angard, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I were the
Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Angard, the man, but Mr. Angard, the nickel samurai.
But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway.
Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Edgy Poo, do you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change!
Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify.
All right, if you insist.
I should be the one sighing, not you!
Can I give him a hug, please?
I know, right?
I feel so bad. On guard, on guard. Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai. That's right. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume.
What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy, thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist.
Ah, youngins today. I told you, there's no way it was anyone else.
How did you know that?
Because I said so. And what I say is the truth.
At least she's just as delightful at least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. This is why people need to adopt the Scottish law witness system, corroboration, where you need 2 witnesses to prove a point.
Exactly.
It means there's far less miscarriages of justice than there are down south in England, because you only need 1 down there.
Yeah, we need. Well, I guess I can say it now since it did happen in 2019. But I was in fact called to jury duty for a slip and fall case, and yeah, it was a slip and fall case, and I can't remember who won, but I think it was. I think it was they both sides like kind of broke even, so both sides get their fair share. But from what I remember, there was at least 1 or 2 witnesses on each side. I can't remember, but I agree with what you said. There needs to be at least 2 witnesses to any trial, because you can't just base it off just one.
Yeah.
Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Would you please get on with your testimony?
Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take it with an elder? My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing on top of my lungs.
What?
A striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He's the Nickel Samurai.
She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears.
Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket?
Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you'll be good and stick to just the facts.
Okay! You promise, right?
Right. I'll be sending you the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum.
I love the writing in this game.
Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not?
Not too long ago. Then let me ask you this: When were you itty bitty? What was your grand dream?
Huh?
What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper?
My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what?
See? And look where we are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you?
Well,
what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that?
in a court of law, they do.
Mm-hmm. Then that was everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
Since when did this court become theatrics over testimonies? Since the first game, Phoenix?
Exactly. All that matters is the man wasn't inside that costume. Isn't that enough?
Achievement unlocked, Judge Wagner.
Yeah.
Now one begs the question. How much did Phoenix Wright have to pay for that Wrigley's Juicy Fruit?
What?
Wrigley's Juicy Fruit, the chewing gum.
Oh!
And why would that be?
That way, no one could see his face, of course.
But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You are such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
Isn't that what you're always doing to me?
Hold on, there's a lag. I got it! Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume.
Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposedly to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jammin' Ninja?
Of course it included him! That's why On Guard came out of Dear Juan's room. I didn't give it a second thought.
I see.
Well, anyway. No, he wasn't.
So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw really was the Nickel Samurai?
As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet?
You don't need to think too hard on this one.
Huh?
There's a contradiction in her testimony, and it's sitting in the plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us.
Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay.
Well, no. Because it said, so he must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan, but if you look at the knife, because if the fingerprints were on there, and he was wearing the costume, it can't be because the Nickel Samurai was wearing gloves. How can there be fingerprints?
Please take a look at this.
Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work.
No, that's not my intention at all.
That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct?
Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case?
You don't even have to ask, because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that what you're driving at? This is exactly what I'm driving at.
What are you driving at, and whose car are we driving? Tonight, on Top Gear Court!
Good lord. If Mr. Ongard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off.
Oh, that's right, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
Objection. He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. Objection! And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there was one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility! It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off.
But the murder still did take place.
It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim.
Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory?
So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? The theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony.
What are you babbling about?
Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Ungard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent.
The knife. Because if there was no bad blood between them, why would he bring a knife?
This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner.
Yes, we did establish that.
Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Kurita.
I suppose.
However, you just said it yourself. At the time, the defendant had held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprint shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us.
Order! Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing?
To frame Matt on guard.
To frame my client, Mr. Ungard, of course.
To frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one?
But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife.
Witness!
Looks like I made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Deepu?
If this were a real court, you'd be done for perjury.
Yeah.
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but...
Are you saying that you mixed up Mr. Ungard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was weighing around the front of the door because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure.
She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside of security.
I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrida. Am I correct, witness?
The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness.
Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of?
So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida.
Maybe, Phoenix. Maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person.
If it is who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you?
Adrian Andrews.
Who's this person?
This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Ungard's manager.
Why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room?
It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor.
Oh, this is... I see.
The judge seems to be really into that article, if it can be called such a thing.
Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's...
Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then.
Witness? What in the world?
Again! Go ahead.
What in the world are you...
You were saying?
I was gonna say, again, you gotta, if you try to hold information in court, that's perjury. You can't do that.
Yeah. Not necessarily withholding information, but outright telling something you know is a lie is perjury.
Yeah. Again, like, if I may quote the one lawyer who plays his attorney, he goes, "What kind of kangaroo court is this shit?" Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. That's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course.
What for?
Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here?
I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide.
I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information.
Get ready! This is going to take the wind out of your young ones.
I'm sure we're all capable of handling this, really. It's not like we're 10 years old.
That Ungar is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know it yet, okay?
The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court.
What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant?
Never heard that one before.
Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person?
We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is in fact baseless gossip.
But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim.
So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right now. Stay here, because there's an important part. That's right. Ungar is nothing but your... Okay. Ungar is nothing about your average foul-mouthed youth.
Well, as the old saying goes, you've got to burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Really?
Highway to the danger zone.
Oh yeah. You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander. Exactly.
But it's true! That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss AA.
But the name of the magazine this came from is Gossip Land.
So Fox News?
Yeah, I know, right?
What? Are you saying that gossip is all just a pack of lies?
Yeah, Fox News.
What do you know?
Speaking of Fox News, I think, since we're talking about lies and clarity here, I've told Shadow this before, but did you know that Fox News is actually banned in the United Kingdom because it's not considered real journalism? So yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone says to me, oh, I heard about this on Fox News, I'd just be like, stop right there.
I suppose next you'll swear to me that this news is 100% truth. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip.
Yes, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright.
Discriminate? When did I do anything like that?
Anyway, Ungar will never get me to say touche.
Whooshi, if you're wondering, Fox News is a news outlet in the United States. It is an incredibly right-wing station, and half the things they say are usually by opinion journalists, and it's almost always not true.
Yeah, like, that's what Fox News is. And the contrast, there's also, like, you know... And, like, the most biggest news outlets are Foxes and CNN, but anyway, getting off track. This is a game, not a political stream.
Well, I'm just explaining what Fox News is.
I know, but still.
A scandal? What do you mean by that?
You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is.
Scandal!
Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much.
Well, that Ungar thought he could own a monopoly on popularity.
Oops.
No, go back.
You don't have any proof that Mr. Ungard did any such thing.
He must be suffering from shock, the shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in such much shock, you can't do anything right.
You're right. I can't do anything. But boy, do I wish I could do something about you.
Alright then, Sonny. Show me what you've got. Can you show me proof that Ungard didn't bear any ill will towards Juan? Wait. Present evidence.
I'm not going to let you push me around that easily.
Heh! There's many a man who've said those exact words and paid dearly for them, save here.
Maybe you should brace yourself this time. Here's my proof that Mr. Ungard did not hold any ill will towards the victim.
The camera!
Lotta's camera?
Yes. Is that... You can take it from here, Edgy Poo.
What are you handing it over to me for?
Hold on, there's a... Oops, okay. So you can give that jagged head baboon boy a message for me, please? Tell him that no matter what he does, the only thing he's good at is failing.
What she said, right? Or should I say, baboon boy? Yes,
Oh.
I agree, this isn't...
Never mind. We presented the wrong statement. Oops.
Oh, I'm gonna reload.
Alright. Yeah, reload again. Sorry. My bad. Alright. Oh, no. I was wrong. We presented it at the wrong statement, so
Well,
we
I-
gotta fail it. We gotta press on the fifth statement. Yeah. Sorry.
It's alright.
Alright. 2. There! There we go. Now hold it.
Wait,
That's what I meant. What? I'm a busy woman! Tea time with the kids is over!
secret information that no one else knows yet? If that's true, then how do you know this secret information?
Well, that's because I'm a pro! Yes, that's it. It's a secret! Even if you drill a hole in my brain, you'll never find out!
How in the world did that old bag get such a secret piece of information? Press further.
Yes.
If you don't be a good girl and tell me where you got this secret information, you won't get to go home today.
Edgy Poo, what are you doing? Help me!
What do I have to do with this?
Just do this for me. You'll get your reward.
I don't want your reward, but you don't leave me much of a choice. Objection! The witness could have gotten her information from anywhere. It's even possible that it was spontaneously made up inside the witness's head. And he lectures me on reckless blabbering? As long as we don't know where this information came from, it's quite a waste of time to focus on this line of questioning. Where did Oldbag get her inside information? There has to be something that I can use to figure it out.
Sounds like just another... Oh, that's you.
Sounds like just another tidbit of gossip, doesn't it?
But you can't just ignore it either. It makes your client look bad either way.
Well, I don't think I heard anything really out of the ordinary just now.
There has to be something we can catch her on. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I find it, I'm going to press the heck out of it.
Yeah, so we gotta press that statement again. Alright, present evidence.
So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag?
What? Sorry. Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that!
Witness! I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it?
Now it's the camera.
The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart.
Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl.
She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself.
She reported such a thing?
On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her outrageous, impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews.
What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
No, I said impressions.
Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless?
Ah, that's it. That's the note.
No, you see, this is something completely different. This might tell you a list of groceries to buy.
Then you are the one who took Miss Hart's note?
I'm a huge fan of Juan, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil Ungard. She said so herself. Ungard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly little duck. I was only checking what she had written. Veggie Pooh, you believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like an angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I'd never taken anything else before.
You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Vintage wine.
Vintage.
Well, it's only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook it just this once.
She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her?
No.
No, pile more pressure on her.
If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness! You said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct?
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible, lonely trash can, that's all.
You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it.
Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Yes. Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night.
Again, you stole the camera.
Miss Oldbag, the note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it?
A camera?
Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweetie's $1,600 camera disappeared on me."
What? Witness?
What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too.
Urgh. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for?
That's...
What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. That's stealing.
I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I think that's more the definition of borrow from the Grand Theft Auto series.
I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Diamondback celebrity photographer extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things.
Bailiff, check the camera's photos. Hurry! We must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have?
There is only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case.
Please present it to the court. This is the Nickel Samurai.
See, I told you, that's the guy I saw.
This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter.
So something is off with that photo.
What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant, however. In his own confession, Mr. Ongar clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume.
If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is
the defendant.
How did it come to this? I think this brings us to an end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright. The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client?
If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess.
Save here. And yes, something is wrong. Something is strange with it. Yes.
There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, Bright.
Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we can all agree that there is nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster.
Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you plan to do, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, please look at this photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo,
then you should only need one chance, correct?
Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. Where in the heck did she take this photo from anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't you take a good shot, especially when it counts?
Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange?
The feet.
Here?
Little bit higher, just a teeny bit up.
Here?
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here.
What are you pointing to? His ankles?
If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't.
And what does this mean?
The costume person in this photo cannot have been Mr. Ungard.
What is the meaning of this?
Objection. I wonder if you would care to elaborate, with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama.
His socks! You can see his socks!
Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding the hakama up just to walk. There is only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time.
Alright, hold on. That's curious.
Huh? What is?
Edward is unusually calm today.
That's true.
He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride.
Along for the ride? What do you mean by that?
I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all.
Doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all.
Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Ungard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless.
I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt Ungard. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who is the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume?
Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What should you be focused on is Edward's attitude, don't you think?
Yeah, why is he so calm?
Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph?
Adrian Andrews.
Adrian Andrews?
If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it is none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Mr. Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. Ungard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ungard that night.
And how does that all add up?
It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Ungard's fingerprints all over it.
The knife that was used as the murder weapon.
Why don't you just say what it is you want, Wright? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Carida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime.
Order! 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 It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor?
This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without her first hearing her testimony.
Alright, this is it.
This is kind of bad for us.
Huh? What do you mean?
If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day.
One more day? Ah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya...
Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow.
What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court.
Raise an objection.
Now then.
Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today.
I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she's not...
I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial.
But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development.
This unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor.
And what do you mean by that?
That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Adrian Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Mr. Wright was a bit slow to catch on.
What?
What?
What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man?
Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over.
Exactly.
Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess.
Oh, we've gone for an hour.
Yeah, and we're
Well,
gonna
an hour and 20 minutes.
we're gonna stop there because my breathing's still not right from the COVID vaccine.
That's fine, honey.
Oi.
But yeah, not bad.
So
Sorry for the flub.
it happens.
My bad.
It happens. No big deal.
Yeah.
Alright, so... that's it for tonight. Anything to say before we sign off?
That was fun.
Yes, it was. And next week we'll continue this trial and see who is guilty and who is innocent, hopefully.
Yep.
Alright, folks. Catch you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.